South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas Eve. Thank you so much for being with us today. This is Sports by the Book. I took a long time to introduce us yesterday, so let's get to that first thing. Drew Dog and Ryan behind the glass. And we've got Kenny White here, professional sports bettor, former odds maker for the Las Vegas line. I'm Alex. This is the first ever father-daughter sports betting show, and I just want to do a very special thank you to my grandfather, Pete White, for joining us yesterday. It's a lot of fun hearing you guys talk and hearing these stories from the past.
Yeah, it is fun to talk about. I thought about it too, and I think he owes me a lot of money and back wages for child labor laws that he used me working all those hours, collating around the ping pong table, typing up his 77 magazine. Yeah, it was a lot of work I had to do. I guess I did get paid for opening his newspapers. I used to walk home from school. I was 10 years old, I remember, because it was 5th grade. And at the door every day was a bag of newspapers every day. And I, probably didn't even take me that long, but as a kid, 15 minutes worth of work feels like 8 hours.
It was funny when he said that when he started, he would read as many newspapers as he could. You say he still does, right? But he did bring up covers. There's a few sites.
Yeah, he doesn't get them delivered to himself anymore. He goes to the library and he reads them all in the library. Every paper he can get his hands on of major sports cities. It's amazing how much he reads. And that, you were asking about the transfer portal yesterday. He goes through the transactions every day.
Oh my gosh.
And he grabs the newspaper and he buys one, where he's at the local newspaper, and they've got a transaction section. But he also tries to buy where he's at in Bullhead City, he gets the Review Journal. So he buys the Review Journal and he uses the transactions and he goes through each sport that he's handicapping and makes sure he knows what's going on. And, it does give you really good information when you see like a NHL team.
Yeah.
They recall a goalie from the minor leagues. Bingo, somebody's injured. One of the goalies is injured. You get an idea of that. So you can kind of get ahead of the injury sometimes just by reading the transactions.
Very good. And that is why he has had success in this business and has passed down to us. And we've learned a lot from him. And that's what we're trying to do with the show as well. Help other people learn what we do and find ways to make money in this business. Today should be a lot of fun. We do have a few things to get to off the top. There is a bowl game, the Hawaii Bowl, South Florida and San Jose State. We will touch on that. And then we're going to talk about tomorrow's action because we have NBA, some really good NBA games on the board, 2 NFL games. And then week 17 is off and running. Thursday Night Football jumps in a couple Saturday NFL games. And then, of course, we're getting closer and closer to New Year's Eve and New Year's. But we will talk about those college football playoff games next week. We'll be back on Monday to discuss those. So we will second half of the show, second half hour, we're going to go through our top 10 in the NFL, and then we'll kind of rapid fire go through our numbers, what we made for week 17, and kind of discuss that, even though we haven't done all the tangibles and whether or not we like the bet or not. Talk about the motivation, if teams are still playing for anything, if they're already eliminated, and if they're still trying to get a wild card spot. So a lot of information coming up in this show. You already went through this bowl game in full, so let's talk about it. South Florida, San Jose State. The Spartans are -3. They're in Hawaii. The total 65.5. Now there is some.
Is it up to 65.5?
65.5 here at, wow. 65 maybe?
Well, it was 64.5 this morning.
Wow.
But I can understand. When I looked at my sheet and I saw 62, I said, wow. It is 65, and it's 65 everywhere. Money continues to come in on the over, and I think it'll continue to go up. You're probably going to see 66, 66.5 on the closing number because we have got two fast teams.
Yep.
We've been talking about these two teams all year long about how fast they play. In South Florida, number one in the country, 20.8 seconds in between plays, and San Jose State, number 9, 23.9.
Now, does that change at all with a new quarterback under center? Or they keep their same?
Well, no. Well, you're saying a new quarterback being South Florida could get their starter back, who's been in the offense for 2 years. That does not change.
Right, that's
they
true.
could go faster. He's actually the better quarterback. So that's Byron Brown. He was injured in week 5 against Tulane. Career 33 touchdown passes. Big kid, really strong arm, good running quarterback. It was a 6-point drop-off when he was injured. So South Florida had to battle through. They did a good job, and they went 4-3 down the stretch to get bowl eligible, and now Byron Brown could be back in this game. I think he's going to be.
So that is the tough part, right? Reading through all the articles and whether or not he is playing or is not playing, but he did travel with the team.
Oh, he's there. He's in uniform. It's been a while. It's almost been 3 months now. The headline on the South Florida newspaper was all Bulls fans want for Christmas is Byron Brown back. That's how, big of a player he is. So, a lot of people don't know that. They have most people have no idea about the difference in the two quarterbacks and how, one is that much better than the other. So it will make a big difference in this game. I have South Florida, even I take 20% off, I make them 6.5. And you can take 3 with South Florida right now. And this late in the year, you don't have that big of differences. So there are a couple reasons why that I, could make a case for San Jose.
And that is mostly because they have been to a bowl game the last couple years.
3 of the last 4 years.
Won one. Right.
3 of the last 4 years, San Jose has been to a bowl, but no wins.
Also, the head coach has some ties where he is.
Ken Niumatalolo. He's Hawaiian, and he's went to St. Louis High School. I think he coached high school football there before he got into his coaching career. And so a homecoming for him, small stadium, 15,000. I think there'll be a lot of fans there from Hawaii that'll be rooting for him and be rooting for San Jose. Nice. It's a nice story. But, again, hey, that doesn't matter. The players on the field make the game happen. I was really confused with San Jose State's quarterback situation. They started Emmett Brown. I thought he was the best quarterback on their team, but not by much. It was a really tight quarterback room. I had 6 guys, and they were all pretty much equal in arm strength, experience, and size. But maybe not size, because Emmett Brown got the job. I thought he was the number 1 quarterback. He started the season, and he did well. They won 4 of their first 6 games. He completed 58% of his passes, 7.5 yards a pass, 16 touchdowns, 5 INTs. So he had a really good, 3-to-1 ratio's good, not really good, but it's good. He lost his job after they lost to Colorado State, and Walker Eggett stepped in. He's 57%, 1 percentage less, 8.2 yards a pass. Now that's an upgrade from Emmett Brown, but 11 touchdowns, 9 INTs. So he didn't throw as many touchdowns in the same amount of games, same amount of passes, and he threw double the interceptions. And I'm just looking at strength of schedule. I guess it was kind of, it looks like, I guess, Walker Eggett played against a little better strength of schedule because he played against Boise, UNLV, and Stanford to end the season. He did lose 2 out of 3 of those, though.
So do you think it's just more of him fitting the offense? Or
no,
coach thinking he may fit the offense more?
Well, maybe. He's a bigger quarterback. Emmett Brown, who started the year, is 5'10". Eggett's 6'3", 225. Everybody, you can't teach size. NFL loves big quarterbacks. And the reason why you big offensive linemen, your offensive linemen are 6'5", 6'6", and you have to throw over those guys. And when you're 5'10", it's hard to throw over a 6'6" guy. So, that you have to do a little bit of different, improvising, rolling out and things like that. This is the one one score that I didn't mention on my show this morning. I went and did their scoring in their road games. So this is their road games. Now, I did not use Alabama for South Florida because I think that's unfair because Alabama's off the charts and they're just far better than San Jose. It's a bad comparison. The teams I used, Southern Miss, Tulane, Florida Atlantic, Charlotte, and Rice. All teams in the range of what I have San Jose rated. South Florida, median score 44-24. 44-24 in those games. They destroyed those teams on the road.
Wow.
That's their actual scoring. San Jose, I took their road games against comparable teams of South Florida. Air Force, Washington State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and Oregon State. Their score, they lost 31-24. I mean, they're just those numbers alone just stack up to South Florida's the play in this game that they beat better teams than San Jose on the road. The only reason I get it is a little bit. South Florida last year beat Syracuse in their bowl game 45-0. They did it. They got to a bowl for their coach first year and they won 45-0. That was a huge business trip. There's no doubt about it. They were all business to beat Syracuse 45-0. Maybe they don't. Maybe this is a vacation this time around. That's the scary part about these bowl games. Motivation. How motivated are they? I do like the over. South Florida under their new coach Parles, who's in his second year, 8-4 over in his road games. And he is 5-1 over in his last 6 games. They scored 35, 44, 59, 63, and 28 in 5 of the 6 games, the games that went over.
That median is 44 as well, just like their road median.
Yeah, they really put up a lot of points. And they play fast. I think they're going to go up and down. I think they're going to have fun and score. I think the total goes flying over. It would have been nice to get it over 62, but
question
over 65 still play.
Question in the chat. So is it Brown or Eggett getting the start for San Jose State?
Oh, it's Eggett.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah,
so the question in the chat is, what do you think about his prop bet over 300 passing yards?
For Eggett?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't do a median on these guys. I can go back and look and see what he's done in his past performance.
385 against Stanford, just 80.
The one thing that scares me a little bit, it is going to be windy there, 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, and it's going to be a crosswind from sideline to sideline.
Okay.
It's a high school stadium, basically, 15,000 seats. So the wind's just going to go right through crosswind. I was hoping it was end zone to end zone, but again, 10 to 20, it's not too bad. And the average is like 13 or 14. So they may be able to get away with this in throwing the football. I believe they will. I think they'll be fine. So looking at Eggett, well, he threw for 385 against Stanford, and he threw for 446 against Boise, and 395 against Oregon State. The only team he did not play well against was UNLV. He went 4 for 22 against UNLV for 81 yards. Did not throw an INT, though, that game. Wonder if he even made the entire game. I'm sure They probably had to use another quarterback. But, hey, 3 of the last 4 games, incredible numbers. He did play the entire game against UNLV. They were just bad. UNLV dominated them. Those numbers, 3 of the last 4 games, this kid's got a good chance to go over 300 yards in this game because that's all they do is throw. They throw the ball more than anybody in the country.
And that game was a weird weather game. There was a lot of rain and I think wind in that one against UNLV, and they just shut him down the second half. So those are mostly just first half numbers for him. So, yeah, lean to the over there, especially if they're playing from behind. If we think South Florida is going to be going up and down as well.
Yeah.
That Boise number is crazy. 446, just 21 points, though. But he did throw 2 picks in that one.
I'm amazed. 385 against Stanford, 446 against Boise, 395 against Oregon State. That's really impressive. And this offense, well, they brought in Kenny Montalolo when he was at Navy, he ran the triple option. That's what he knows. 16 years at Navy. But he brought in a coach who runs the air raid, run and shoot offense, and that's what they play, and it's worked well. And, they don't score like South Florida does, though. That's the amazing part. On the year, their median points is just 24 points a game. The last 5 are the road games I just mentioned, 24 points a game. It's surprising they can throw for this many yards and not put up points. So hopefully they put up points tonight in this game. So not as many as South Florida, though.
Not as many as South Florida. Over on the total, a lean to the points. You did take the points with South Florida, getting 3 there where you made them the favorite. Let's do a quick recap of our games yesterday. We'll start with your college basketball. I know your totals were 2-0, right? Yeah,
totals were 2-0. 2-1 for the week so far. So Oregon State disappointed me. They played Oakland. They were 9.5-point favorite. I had them, I think 15 or 16 points better. And you're in Hawaii, though, and the strange things happen sometimes there. That went to overtime. Oregon State ended up winning, I think, by 6 in overtime. Washington and Seattle over 144. Scored a bunch of points late, and it got there, 79-70. Seattle upsets Washington. And then Hawaii and Nebraska under 143.5. That was never in doubt. Very low-scoring basketball game. 2 good defenses.
Nebraska did cover that one. Is that tournament over now?
No, they played tomorrow.
Tomorrow on Christmas Day as well. Okay, good. For my hockey, I did go 1-1 with the games that I picked, but overall, I'm very happy with my hockey numbers. Rangers and the Devils did stay under, final 5-0. My Winnipeg and Toronto did not stay under, but looking at some of the other ones, the Canadiens and Columbus flew over. 5-4 was the final. We had a lean to that. Boston, better at home, beat Washington. Talked about that one. The Flyers and the Penguins went over 7-3, so that should have definitely made the board. This Tampa Bay and Florida Panthers did not go over. That was my loser. But Buffalo gets the win. I was trying to make a case for them, but we did not want to jump in front of that 12-game losing streak, but they got it done. Nice plus price there. But and the Vegas game, 3-1 final. I did like that under as well. So pretty good day. I'm excited to go back and update those numbers. We have a few days off in hockey, so I'll be ready to go for Sports by the Book on Saturday. We'll probably throw in some hockey plays as well. Are we going to NBA?
I was just looking at the college basketball schedule. There are 4 games still there in Hawaii. College of Charleston plays Charlotte. Loyola Chicago plays Murray State. Oakland plays Hawaii. And then Oregon State plays Nebraska for the championship. Okay. That should be a really good championship game.
Very good. Do you have the odds on that too?
I do not. Okay. I did not make my numbers yet there. But I can give you NBA for Christmas. I did 2 weeks ago. I went through these, and I know they've changed a little bit now. Let me see here.
Yeah, as I mentioned, some really good matchups. We've got the Spurs and the Knicks, Minnesota and Dallas, the Sixers and Boston, the Lakers and the Warriors, and then the Nuggets and the Suns. So 5 really good matchups for you to bet on all day for Christmas. It is crazy. There's just one bowl game today and nothing else really going on.
Yep, just the one game. That's usually what happens Christmas Eve. The first game, NBA, we're doing the NBA.
Yep.
The 5 games in the NBA. So I did these 2 weeks ago, trying to get an early advance and maybe, get the best of the line. Didn't really work. The Knicks total I made higher. I still have it higher. I have the Knicks 10.5 and 231.5. Did you see Wembanyama had 10 blocks this last game?
Did he?
33 points, 10 blocks. He didn't get the rebounds to get the triple double. And he didn't have a lot of assists either because could have with 10 blocks you could get a quadruple double, which very rarely ever happens.
Frank had a great stat about him that he made it to a certain amount of 3-pointers before a lot of really great players. I think Curry was on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A couple others, so pretty incredible.
Yeah, he's a heck of a player. That's why I liked the Spurs this year and thought that they were a good bet over. But the Knicks, a really good basketball team. They're playing well. Towns is he's meshed in very nice with this unit. He must like playing for Tom Thibodeau, and that's the reason why they traded for him. And I've got them 10.5. The line's 9.5. There's no value there, but I made the total 231.5. I still have an over 8 points. And it's Madison Square Garden. I've talked about that before. Sometimes they have the tight rims, they have tight nets, and it takes forever for the ball to get through the net when they're that tight. I don't know why it is. You don't see that in many other arenas. There must be something they do there. They starch those nets up or something to make them super tight. I don't know why, but maybe you watch early and you see how the nets are where the first couple baskets go through, and if it takes forever for the ball to get through the net, you got to just lay off. But if it goes through easily, hey, it might be a good shooting night from both teams. I think it's worth an overplay.
I agree. I mean, we've seen how New York has played all year and better offensively than defensively to start the season. So I like it as well. What about Dallas and the Timberwolves? We've got the Mavs 5.5 at home, total 221.5.
The Luka Doncic has been out a couple games, but it looks like he's going to return, and he will play here in this game. I have Dallas 7 and 215.5. Minnesota's my under team. I have a under record for them. And this total right now in the books, it was 223.5. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, bet it under. This is one that we did get some value on. It's down to 221 now.
Minnesota very good defensively, third right now, defense efficiency. Sixers,
And
reigning champions, Celtics. Yep.
Celtics, I believe their last game was a loss to the Chicago Bulls. Yeah.
Ryan might be
amazing.
able to tell us that one.
Everybody was back too for the Celtics. They've got their entire lineup intact. Tatum missed a couple games. Porzingis has missed a lot this year, but those guys are all back. It says Jason Tatum has an illness. He is questionable, but I believe he's playing. So everybody in the lineups. I have Boston 14 and 211. Well, sorry about that. I have to make the adjustment for Embiid back because he is playing. Make that 10 and 211. There's another under. I went under 222 a couple weeks ago, and it is still 222. So
It's moving though, so jump on it now because
is it going down?
Well, that's a DK that's juiced to the under, but might start seeing other places.
Well, they don't like each other, that's for sure. So I don't mind, with the rivalry situation between those two teams. So we'll see what happens there.
What about a 76ers team total under?
Yeah, you could look at that because they still don't. I don't think they still nowhere near the continuity they're going to need. Embiid has been out so much. George, a new addition. Maxey was out a little bit, and these guys those three stars have not played a lot of games together. So they're still probably trying to figure things out. That might be the case with Boston coming off the Bulls loss.
The Boston beat the Bulls. They lost
they did?
to the Magic. Thank you.
Okay, so
So they got their revenge spot. Actually, it was back-to-back going there and then beat them in Chicago. And then,
they lost at home. They lost at home to the Bulls. Then they got their revenge on the 21st and then lost to Orlando. Wow. It's that play-in tournament takes a lot out of you because these teams are playing so hard for the play-in tournament, and then all of a sudden then you get the holiday break, or like I talk about a lot of times, that this is uncertainty from these teams and how they're playing. I should go back. I think I did go back and I did some surveys on like the visitors and the home teams on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
To see if there's any benefit. I don't believe there was, but I'll have to check and see if I can find that.
Yeah, because that is the case I wanted to make for the visitors being a little bit more focused and not having distractions.
Yeah, that they don't have those distractions.
First time these two are playing this year, Lakers and Golden State. Next game up. Now, I think you like the Warriors in this one. They're a 4-point favorite here at the South Point, 224.
Yeah, and not as much as I did earlier because Reeves was out, Russell was banged up a little bit, and I didn't know about LeBron, and he had an ankle injury, a knee injury. So I really wasn't sure if those guys were going to play. Looks like they're all playing. So I really only have Golden State now 4.5. I said lay the 3.5. It did go up to 4. I think that's the right number. The total I made 231.5. I like it over. There's a lot of scoring in these two teams. They can put up points with Curry and Wiggins and
Dalton Connect.
Kuminga. Who?
Dalton Connect.
Yeah, well, he's been
benched
lately.
Has he?
Yes.
I knew I hadn't seen.
His minutes have been deteriorating over the last 4 or 5 games. I was very, very surprised that the minutes have dropped off. He only played 5 or 6 minutes the last game. This
is one where they should probably let him play against the Warriors. Let's go back and forth with some threes.
So yeah, I like that over the 120, over the 224. I made it 231.5. That'll definitely make my board over in that one.
What about this game? This is a back-to-back. These two just played each other with the Nuggets and the Suns. Denver won 117-90, and this was on Sunday, the 23rd. They just played in Denver. Now they're going to Phoenix. So the Denver's favored again, 3 points. 234 is the total.
I only have it a half. Denver a half on the road. 248.5. Love it over. What'd they score the last game? It
was 117-90.
Wow, very, very low scoring. No wonder why this total is that much lower. But I have, there's so much firepower on both of these basketball teams. That surprises me the score was that low. I want to go back and see what the pace was in that game when they played.
Yep.
You said they played when on the 22nd?
23rd.
Oh, they did
yesterday.
On the 23rd.
Yesterday, yeah. We never got to NBA yesterday, but.
Well, I never even got, I was still updating, so I didn't get there and get even a sheet out because of that. Wow. Fourth quarter, there was only 28 points scored in the fourth quarter. The pace was 93, extremely low pace. The third quarter, there was 73 points scored. 73 points in the third quarter and just 28 in the fourth quarter. Losing by 27, this Phoenix team, I think you're going to see a much, much better effort. Now, there was no Booker in that contest. Booker was out. He will be back for this game. So that's big for Phoenix.
Yes.
And I think everybody was intact. Well, Westbrook was in the starting lineup, so there could have been somebody out there who was out. Yeah, Jamal Murray was out. So you had 2 superstars out, 2 superstar players. And, that fourth quarter, 28 points, if you just get a 55, that's 27 points you add to the score. That's 234. They should have gotten to that point. There's no doubt about it. That's just a freak. The 73 is a freak quarter too. The 28 is really more of a freakish quarter, I think, for these two teams. So, yeah, I like over there. I think they'll get there to that point.
Aren't those 2 guys very important for the fourth quarter? Those are 2 guys that can take over, and they also facilitate the offense and get it going. So,
yeah. Well, Booker not as much anymore because he's been moved. They picked up Ty Jones.
Yes.
He's now moved more to the shooting guard spot. But yeah, Booker can run that position if he needs to. I didn't watch the game. Maybe Ty Jones didn't play the fourth quarter for Phoenix, and they didn't really have a point guard running the show, and that's why they only scored 11 points. So I don't think you're going to get a 73-point quarter, but I know you're not getting. There's a better chance of a 73-point quarter than there is a 28-point quarter.
So do you like the over more than getting 3 here with Phoenix?
Yeah, I do. I like totals in general more, but I'm going to play Phoenix after losing by 27 and getting Booker back and taking points at home. Yeah, I'll take Phoenix.
Is Murray coming back as well, or is he
Both
missing
guys
another?
are listed as questionable to play, so when I see questionable, I think they're playing.
Okay. Maybe something to keep an eye on, though. But good. Okay, so we went through all of NBA for Christmas Day. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going through our top 10 in the NFL, and we're going through every game in Week 17. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book. We are live at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Make sure and get down here. I forgot to mention all of these parlay cards, and you asked me if I was supposed to yesterday. So the normal parlay cards, the ties, win, half-point card, all of that fun stuff. We like to fill one out every weekend here at Sports by the Book. And there's another $25,000 guaranteed. It is the College Bowl Jackpot Parlay card. You just have to pick the winner. These are for the bowl games starting Saturday, going all the way to next Friday, with Minnesota and Virginia Tech being the final game January 3rd. So just have to pick the winner. You can fill out as many as you want, $5, just like all the other jackpot cards. So a lot of fun. Jump in, fill out one. I know it's a little tough with the bowl games, but might as well take a shot here.
No doubt about it. It's a good contest. A lot of fun. Before we jump to the NFL, Ryan just looked and he got some information for us for Booker for Phoenix, and it's got to be known. You make sure that he plays. Ryan said that the information was that he's going to miss 2 games. He's missed 1. This would be the second game on Christmas Day. So he may not play in this game. ESPN has him as game time decision. He's worth 4.5 points at the betting line. So I had to Denver a half.
Yep.
With him in, I'd make this game more about 5 with him out. So I will not be betting Phoenix if Booker doesn't play. It'll also bring my total down about 4.5 points, and I've got 248, 284. Hope it gets that. If they'll need 4 73-point quarters. 244 so I would still have a play, but I will not bet this over yet, because if Booker doesn't play, this total will drop to 231.
Okay.
So we'll get a better number on the over if Booker doesn't play.
And then, so you have it 5, and then maybe not a full revenge, but they did just lose at home. So for the Phoenix, so that might even make it 4.
They didn't lose at home. They lost at Denver.
You're right. Okay.
It was at Denver.
You're right. So, okay. We're moving on to NFL. We're going to start with our top 10. Well, we skipped last week. I don't think we updated, so we'll go right through these. I will jump in first, and then we'll let you give yours. So I have a nice 3-way tie here at 10 with the Broncos, the Rams, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the best rating I've had for the Rams all year long. Really good win against the Jets. I know it's the Jets, but still, I didn't know which team was actually going to be more motivated there. Number 9, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming off a bad loss to Dallas, but I still think they're a top 10 team. Number 8, Los Angeles Chargers. Very impressive win last Thursday over the Broncos in that division matchup. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings. If you got the correct numbers you covered last week, they won by 3, so kind of a push there for them, but still playing very good football. Number 6, Kansas City Chiefs. I think that they will continue to move up. Hollywood Brown coming back. I think this offense is going to start to get going, but as of right now, they are number 6. Number 5, the Eagles, coming off a rough loss to the Commanders. I had to drop them down a little bit because the Commanders found a way to win that one while losing the turnover battle. So impressive for them. Packers, number 4, very close to the Bills. And the Lions jump back up to number 2. Great win over the Bears, even with their injuries. As you mentioned, though, they're getting healthier. And number 1, the Baltimore Ravens. Very impressive win and cover over the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday.
We have a lot of similarities in our top 10, and I have a logjam at number 11. I can't believe how many teams I have. Chargers, Rams, Titans, Steelers, Cardinals, 49ers, and Seahawks all jammed up in that group. And I can't believe San Francisco's out of the playoffs. Amazing that how much talent they lost throughout the year. Shows you how much talent means, because when you lose that type of talent, you don't even make the playoffs.
Well, what did I show you yesterday, too? 22 straight years. They're either in the NFC Championship game or have missed the playoffs completely.
Yeah, it's 22 straight years.
I believe so.
Yeah, it was
I'll
22.
have to double check
it was 22 straight years. They've either been in the NFC Championship game or missed the playoffs. So they get in, they're going to the championship game is basically what it's saying. But Cincinnati Bengals, I have number 10. Still, they just have a good team. They got Joe Burrow. You got Joe Burrow. You got a quarterback like that. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. You're going to be good. I have Tampa number 9. It really kind of surprises me, but I was glad you said you have Tampa number 9 as well. So right there for both of us. I have Minnesota number 8, a 104 rating. The Washington Commanders number 7. The Kansas City Chiefs at number 6 right now. I have them. I'm really amazed how far down I've dropped. They've got a really good defense. I'm really surprised how low I have this team rated right now. The Buffalo Bills 106 rating. I have number 5, and then I have a logjam at number 2. 3 teams I have tied: Green Bay Packers, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Detroit Lions, all at a 107.5. The Lions, as you mentioned, getting a little healthier on defense, could get some guys back too. Number 1, we both agree, Baltimore Ravens at 109.5 rating. I'm 2 points better than those teams at second place.
I can't argue with that either. Green Bay looked very good yesterday. That was the first shutout of the year in the NFL. So them being right there with the Eagles, Lions, and Bills.
Can't believe that was the first shutout of the year. That's pretty amazing that it's taken that long for a team to get a shutout. But I kind of thought that, I kind of made that case yesterday. My numbers didn't say it, but I thought the Green Bay Packers were a good play yesterday.
Once you said that, I knew I had to stay off because I made it 11.5. I thought we could make a case, but you have been on the Saints more than me.
Yeah.
And with Spencer Rattler first jumping in, and they covered. They played good last week against the Commanders, who just beat the Eagles. They lost by 1. They had a failed 2-point conversion. So, yeah, that was a good one to stay away from for sure if you like the dog there. But I don't think Kansas City has necessarily moved down, and correct me if this isn't the case for you, but for myself, I feel like the other 5 have just bumped up, and they've kind of just stayed there for the last few weeks.
Well, my rating is lower.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm a 105.5. I think I had them at about a 109.5.
Wow.
Most of the year. So they have come down 4 points in my ratings. I'm really shocked to see them that low, though, because I still think they're a very good football team. They got a great defense, and they got Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes just hasn't played like that. And they did win last week. They won on Saturday. We'll see how they do here in a turnaround now that I think they have everything locked up, and we'll talk about those games right now.
Yep, we're going to jump right into the 2 Christmas games. So the same 4 teams that we saw on Saturday, and you're talking about the Chiefs. They did beat the Texans. Texans, brutal loss to Tank Dell in that game, so kind of had to adjust. And is he worth a point?
I don't.
We'll have to check. We'll have to check on that. But yes, so the Chiefs did get the win in that one, and then Baltimore got the win over the Steelers. So now looking at how they are matched up for Christmas, we've got Kansas City 2.5 over Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and we've got Baltimore 5.5 point favorite over Houston. And we'll go through those and look at the total as well.
So yeah, the most important thing is that bye for the playoffs. Kansas City they're 2 games up over Buffalo. Buffalo has the tiebreaker. Kansas City's only lost once this year.
Yes.
It was a bad loss for us. We were on them the day they lost. And Baltimore lost to me twice this year when I bet them on money lines that I thought they were going to win. And now they're rated we have them both rated number 1, and they're only 10-5.
I know.
They're 4 games out behind Kansas City, but they've just played better football. They've shown that offense, and I think the defense continues to improve. And I said that would happen under Harbaugh because he brings in good players. They're still this will be interesting Christmas Day with these teams turning around from Saturday, short week, and all of them needing wins. They all need wins. Kansas City still needs a win. Pittsburgh's tied with Baltimore right now for the division. They both need a win, and Houston's number 4 in the playoffs right now. So,
well, Houston did lock up that division, so they are good to go. It is just for the wild card spots: Chargers, Broncos, Colts, and Dolphins, and the Bengals. The Bengals sneak in there; they would be very dangerous.
Houston off a loss against Kansas City is, they're still going to they're not going to want to go into the playoffs losing. And they know next week they may not have to play any of their star players because you're right. They're going to be locked into seeding because they won the division. So it'll be interesting what they do this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams, I don't really have any data to see teams bouncing back on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 3 days rest, basically.
Yeah.
You played on Saturday, you got Sunday off, Monday to practice, Tuesday to practice, Wednesday play a game. That's like the shortest week I've ever seen in the NFL, but all 4, it's fair because all 4 teams are doing it.
I feel like the home team has to have a little bit of an advantage in this case, right? Because they have their own facilities and all the rehab.
Yeah, and they don't have to travel, right?
And they don't have to travel while doing all that.
They got home from their last game, and so Pittsburgh and Houston, the 2 teams that lost last week, are both at home.
Well, I do like Pittsburgh in this one. I'm going to wait and see if I can get a 3, though, because I saw a couple pop up. I might have missed it. Well, maybe that's places I cannot bet, but going to wait and see if I get a 3 from a book here. So the Steelers are getting George Pickens back after he has missed 3 weeks. They've lost 2 in a row to good teams, but them covering as a dog did not work out in those 2 games either. So I think George Pickens is huge for this offense and Russell Wilson. So with him coming back, I do like the points here. I made the Chiefs 1 on the road, and I also made the total 42.5. So a little bit of a lean to the under, even though we've seen some Steeler games go over as of late.
I made Kansas City 1.5, but I only made the total 36.5.
Wow.
I love Pittsburgh as an under team. And just talked about the Chiefs' defense is the real deal. And Mahomes has struggled offensively this year. So I do love that game under. I'm really surprised that I don't know why the over money for the love for the over. It's gone up. South Point opened 42.5 and it's up to 44.
Well, let's look at Pittsburgh's last few games. So 34-17 loss to the Ravens, 27-13 loss to the Eagles, 27-14 win over the Browns, and then a 44-38 shootout against the Bengals, where they did win that one. So higher scoring games.
Yeah, they're not, well, two of the 4 though went under. Even with the Eagle game went under 27-13, and the Eagles are, for me, I feel like a very good over team. And I think all of those teams you talked about, I feel like Baltimore is an over team,
yes,
because their offense is so explosive. Cleveland, I feel like, is an over team because they've got their offense is throw. And Cincinnati with Joe Burrow is an over team.
100%.
So, yeah, I had...
Yeah, I like it under too. Mine's not as strong of a difference as yours, but I could definitely make the case for it.
Right, and I would go under with Russell Wilson's passing yards. I don't know what it is, but just looking at his games, 195, 205. He did have a 270 at Cleveland.
That's without Pickens.
And, okay, well, no, he was, was that when Pickens went out against Cleveland?
Yes.
And then 414. Well, Pickens was in. Pickens was in those games. He missed the last 3.
Yes.
Well,
the first Cleveland, sorry.
Yeah, first Cleveland game. And then the second Cleveland game without Pickens, 158. Then he had 128 against Philadelphia and 217 against Baltimore in a game that they had to throw a lot late. So I think there'll be more in this game, and they will not have to throw as much, and they'll lean on Harris and Warren to run the football.
Looks like a great same game teaser too. If you want to just bet a little bit, tease the Steelers up 8.5 and tease the total higher.
Yeah,
so we can go under 50.
Yeah, no, that does look like a good teaser to me. I like that teaser, the dog and under.
Let's go to the Ravens and the Texans. I was asking you if Tank Dell was worth a full point. I did drop them down a point. So now I have the Ravens 4.5, and I have the total 50.5. Here at the South Point, Baltimore 5-point favorite on the road, and the total 46.5. So a lean to the over in this one for me. Any differences for you?
Yeah, and you know, I have a half a point for Tank Dell, but I wouldn't argue if you wanted to use it, take a point off for him. I have Baltimore 4.5 and 54.5. I think it's going to be a high-flying game by both teams. And again, I have one under and one over. I just don't know the short time in between these games. These guys are beat up. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, when they play, that was always a go against for me the next week, whoever they played, because of how physical those games are. So I don't know how both these teams are going to react coming back off those physical games. And then what does it mean to the scoring? You know, when everybody is beat up, who's beat up more, the offense or defense? I feel like the defense is more beat up, but the offense, wide receivers and running backs are getting hit by the defensive players as well. So, I just don't have the data on it. On this short a rest. I don't think I've ever seen this short a rest. That's why I was this morning when you told me there was 2 games on Christmas, I was like, there's no way on a Wednesday. Who's playing? You know, and you said the teams have played on Saturday. So, wow.
They did go to Derrick Henry quite a bit in that game too. He had 162 yards on 24 attempts, 6.8 yards per carry. Looking at him and Saquon's numbers are just insane. And they're both right there at the top, just big jump till the next guy. But so, I mean, that could him and Lamar, running the ball. So we'll find out. It'll be interesting. And they should be 2 really good games. So you like over in this one?
Here we got 4 playoff teams.
Yes.
Yeah, I like over. I've got it higher. That Baltimore offense has been just so good. They're, I think, the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah, the Lions and the Bills, right? Probably and the Bengals. You can't deny that they are one of the best offenses as well. So those 4 all right there. I'm going to check in with the chat really quick. We appreciate all of you. Agent 87 is back, says Merry Christmas. A lot of holiday greetings. Crash Out Sosa. Vince is here as well. Hello, Vince. Dean Hilt, Prophet Locke, Ryan, and Jerry. So thank you all. We appreciate you being here with us and chiming in and getting the chat going. Let's go to Thursday night. We're going to kind of just go down the list now for these games and give our numbers, give what the number is, and maybe a quick little feel for it, even though we haven't done all the tangibles yet. So Thursday night, Seahawks, Chicago Bears. The Bears are hosting. Seattle's 3.5 on the road here at the South Point, in the total 43.5.
Boy, Seattle, another bad loss for them this past weekend.
It was the Vikings.
Yeah, but
they were at home. Yeah,
they just can't lose, any more games. They're number 9 on the outside. Looking in 8-7 record. I think they're going to need to win their last 2 games to get in. So this is a big game. There was money for them too. I made Seattle 3.5, 39.5. The total money for the over. I'm looking at Circa opener at 40.5, bet up to 43.5.
Wow. I did make it 46 and thought between these 2, I do not love that at all, but
you made it 46?
Yeah. Makes me feel better that there was money going to the over. I have the Seahawks 2.5. Now, do we have to be careful? Because there are some teams that are eliminated who are going to play really hard just to ruin some other teams' postseason, right?
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of tanking in the NFL. It just doesn't happen like the NBA and Major League Baseball. Because I think as the rosters are a little bit more lenient on who you can play. Football, you got your same starters in and week out, and you're going with those starters every game. So you're going to get, I think, the best out of those teams.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, Joe Canella, who very, very, very solid NFL sports bettor, he always loved betting on those teams late in the year. because they were getting an extra 3, 4, 5, 6 points at sometimes because people would go, oh my gosh, this team must win.
Right.
And the line would get overinflated, and the team that didn't need the game, they came and they played hard. So,
yeah, and could cover, getting at extra 3 points there.
yeah, a lot of times they would win those games. So yeah, there'll be money maybe for Seattle in this spot, but again, I only have it 3.5. I'm not going to add to it. I wanted to check the weather for you. That's a Thursday game because we're always worried about the Chicago weather. It can change in a heartbeat, and it's very windy. It's called the Windy City for a reason. But it doesn't look like the weather will be too bad. Now, that's going to be a 7 o'clock kickoff that night. 43 degrees and 7-mile-an-hour winds. So I guess maybe that's a reason why they bet it over. They weren't worried about the weather.
The other thing is with that total, since they fired Eberflus, who was the defensive guy, their defense has just gotten worse each week.
Has it?
Yes.
I'd have to look at their game logs. And Ryan probably knows a lot more about what they're doing right now defensively because that's his team and he follows them so closely.
Ryan's going to chime in.
They've given up 30 or more the last 3 games. That was San Francisco, Minnesota, and Detroit. All offenses far better than Seattle's, though.
Yes.
Well, so the Bears' offense has been, prior to last week when they scored 14 in the second quarter, they had been shut out in the first half in 3 straight weeks.
That's right.
And then last week, they only scored 3 points in the second half. So their offense hasn't been able to produce very well since firing their head coach and promoting their passing coordinator to offensive coordinator and out their head coach. I would not trust the Bears at all to do anything in this spot.
42 points they've scored in the last 3 games combined since the firing.
Yeah.
This is one that did not pay off.
Nope, they did not get and it's the first time they fired a coach mid-season, right?
Mid-season,
and they
first
don't
time
get
ever.
their coach or
Their bump, the coaching bump that
Exactly.
they thought they did play 3 really good teams though.
Yes.
Even though San Francisco's not a playoff team, they still had talent.
yes, their numbers are still great. I mean, even yards allowed per game. Okay, let's go down this. Let's go the Saturday, 3 Saturday games, and then we'll go down the Sunday slate as well. So Chargers 4.5 against New England, total 42.
I made the Chargers 3.5, 42.5.
Wow, do I love the Chargers or what? I have them 8
Do
here
you?
in this spot, and the total 41.
Okay. Well, my number's right there in the game, so I'll be rooting for. I can understand the Chargers in the game because they're the team that needs the game for the playoffs.
They do need it.
The Patriots just played their hearts out against their hated rival, the Bills,
Yes.
and they lost by 3 points as a 14-point dog. So,
And they lost the turnover battle, right? I think they should have actually won.
but the Chargers are the team that needs the game. I think you'll see money for the Chargers on the day of the game.
As long as McConkey is playing, which we've seen him. He's played the last 2. So Bengals 3.5 at home hosting the Broncos, total 50. This is a very big game for these two as well.
Yeah, Cincinnati's still in it. It's 7-8 record, number 10, trying to get in, and one of the teams ahead of them is the Broncos. They're looking up at him, who's 9-6. I have the Bengals 3.5 as well, 53 the total.
I have the Bengals 2.5 and 50.5. So right there, yours is a little bit of a lean to the over, which we have seen the Broncos. I mean, nobody expected the Broncos-Chargers game to go over, and that flew over.
And this total did go up. The South Point, the Circa opener was 47.5, bet up to 50.
And there's still some 49.5 out there. So if you want to jump in there, but it's such a meaningful game. Week 17. That's a stay away from the over, right?
Yeah, I would stay away from the over. And there's not much difference between 49.5 and 50. Same number, basically. But yeah, big game for both teams. There could be a little conservative coaching. There could be a little nerves, and who knows?
Yeah.
I would pass.
Bengals defense has been trending in the right direction as well. Let's go Rams. They're a 6-point favorite at home, total 48.5.
Wow, I still only am 2.
Wow.
2 and 51.5.
I have it 4.5 and 50.5. But I did drop the Cardinals down quite a bit after this past weekend.
Yeah.
At least 1.5 points. and bumped the Rams up. Are the Cardinals still in it, or have they been officially?
No, they're out. Yeah, they're eliminated. They did beat the Rams 41-10 in week 2. They destroyed them, so there's no revenge factor. If there's any, it would be the Rams being embarrassed as they were. So, yeah, that's a bad overtime loss on the road at Carolina. But there's no real travel here. Going from Phoenix to LA, easy travel. I don't know. I just haven't been that high in the Rams all year. I got to reevaluate. Sean McVay's one of my favorite coaches, and love what I've seen out of him. But I just don't think they've had the roster the last 2 years. But he's overachieved.
Well, and then they made it to the playoffs last year and lost in the first round, and I could see that happening once again here.
Yeah,
they don't have the full complete roster, but they're finding ways to win. That's for sure. I'm curious, so the Cardinals have lost their last 3 road games. They've actually lost 4 of their last 5. They're going in the wrong direction as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt they are. And you lose to Carolina. That's just, it's a bad loss. Connor's running the ball really well. He's over 100 yards the last 2 games. So they are getting offensive efficiency. Maybe this is an over game. I have it 51.5. Cardinals defense has failed them as of late. They've given up 36, 17, 30, and 23 to Minnesota.
I don't hate taking the points here, though. As we were just talking about, division game. It's between the Rams and the Seahawks now. The Cardinals don't mind.
They don't care.
Messing us up for the Rams.
Yeah. Oh, no, they would love to knock the Rams out. They don't want to see the Rams win.
They're still playing hard. Just, bad overtime loss. Let's go to Sunday's games here. We've got the Colts and the Giants. The Colts have the easiest last 2 games, so they just have to take care of business, win these 2, and they will be in the playoffs. They're an 8-point favorite on the road, total 41.
I only have the game 4 and 38. Again, I just, it's the NFL to me. I wouldn't lay that many points, and you're probably going to see this go up, and this would be one of those games betting against the must-win team on the road.
I have it 4.5, so I will wait, right? We'll wait and get the very best number we can get there. Yeah. Falcons, Washington, that is rotation number order, but that game did move to the late game because it is a meaningful one for these 2. Commanders, 4-point favorite, total 47.5.
2 rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head now. We'll see what Michael Penix can do against a really good team and a well-coached team with Washington with Dan Quinn. They've had a great year. I made Washington 6 and 54.5. Like it over.
You've definitely adjusted your Falcons number. And Washington was in your top 10. They have not made my top 10 yet. No. So that does make sense. I have it right there, 4 and 50. So over for me as well. Raiders and the Saints. The Raiders are a 1-point favorite. I think this has kind of bounced around. Total 37.5 in this one. It
has bounced around. I have the Saints 3 and 36 in this game.
I have the Saints 2 and the total 40.5. We'll have to look into that one if it's worth it. And I heard Derek Carr may come back if
he does. I'm definitely playing the Saints because he'll love to beat the Raiders.
Yes, and might want to jump in now. Moneyline plus 105. Titans, Jags. Let's see what we have in this one. Pick them here at South Point. The total 40.
I have Jags 2 and 43.5. Obviously, just a completely meaningless game.
Yep.
Could be very high scoring. I went over with the Jags and the Jets a couple of weeks ago. Now we got Mason Rudolph in there for Tennessee. I think he's better offensively. So, yeah, I'll go over there.
What'd you make it?
43.5.
43. Okay, I've got it 43.5 as well. I have the Jags 3. I'd probably bet the side before the total even. I do like what I've seen from Mac Jones for Jacksonville. So Mac Jones versus Mason Rudolph here in this meaningless game. Jets and Buffalo, the Bills 11-point favorite coming off of that loss. No, they didn't lose. Almost lost.
Did not cover.
To the Patriots. Total 46.
And they're still fighting. If Kansas City wins, though, on Christmas Day, that eliminates the Bills from getting the number 1 spot.
That's a good point.
How motivated are they? And this is still Aaron Rodgers. He's had a nice little run here down the stretch. I made the game 9, though. I do have Buffalo 9. You said 11.
Oh.
And I guess it is. There's been money for Buffalo in this game.
Wow.
Wonder if there's any injuries. Well, Aaron Rodgers is probable, and Josh Allen's probable. So I don't really see any reason for that line movement. I thought 9 was the right number, but it is up to 11.
I did make it 10.5.
Okay.
But
Buffalo's had a good year.
as you
But
mentioned,
this may be a completely meaningless game for them.
right, so should not bet it this early. Wait till after Christmas.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, Panthers and Bucks, Tampa Bay, trying to find that game. 8-point favorite, total 49.5. Panthers are playing tough. They have definitely not gone down that tanking. Bryce Young has gotten better since his benching, and Tampa Bay is coming off a bad loss in this one.
Yeah, I was going to, if I had a second to pull up, I wanted to look and see what Bryce Young has done because I think you're right. I agree with you. I think he probably has played better. They're 4-11 on the year.
I think their win total was 4.5.
60% completion, 6.1 yards a pass, 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So he's still over. The overall numbers are not very good. Let's look at the last couple of games. He threw for 158 in the win over Arizona. That's it. 17 for 26, 6 yards a pass. Over the last 3 games, he's thrown 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Ooh.
The bad game was home against Dallas. He
Yep.
threw 2 INTs in that game. But he's been under 200 yards, under 220 yards the last 3 games. He did have a high-flying game against Tampa, where he threw 46 passes for 298 yards, and that's who they're playing. They do have home revenge. I made Tampa 12 with no home revenge. I got to add that in, so I've got 9.5. I'm not laying the points, but I do like it over. I made it 54.5.
It seems like when these teams in this division play each other, we do see higher scoring games than when they play teams outside of their division. I was looking at that with the Falcons as well. Does this game mean anything for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, they're fighting for playoffs.
Yes, because now the Falcons could steal the division. We talked about that yesterday. So
I guess they're not just fighting for the playoffs; they're fighting for the division too.
Yep.
Yeah, at 8-7. Where's the Falcons? 8-7. They're both 8-7. Falcons do hold the tiebreaker based on head-to-head win percentage. I don't know if the Falcons played them twice.
The Falcons have the Commanders this weekend, and then the Panthers. So the Bucks need to win out against the Panthers and the Saints, and need the Falcons to essentially lose to the Commanders this weekend, because you'd anticipate them to beat the Panthers in Week 18.
Yep.
So they need the Falcons to lose one of 2, and the Bucks need to win both.
The Falcons won both games against Tampa this year.
yes, they did. So if Washington wins, they're in. And does that mean the Falcons have no shot?
Oh,
Or
no,
Fal-
they still would.
Okay.
The Falcons would still have a shot as long as the Bucks, if
They're
they
playing
both
for
win
division.
one of 2, the Falcons are in.
Okay.
If the Falcons win 1 of 2 and the Bucks win 2 of 2, the Bucks are in.
Okay. Very interesting.
So both need to win this week.
Yes.
For sure. They both need to win. But Washington does as well. So that's a big game.
How about this game? Minnesota 1-point favorite against the Packers, total 49. So the Vikings and the Lions are competing for the number 1 overall, and they play each other in Week 18. So both need to take care of business in this game this weekend, and then they'll play each other.
The NFC North, what a year when you've got 3 teams winning double-digit games. Lions and Vikings both with 13 wins and the Packers with 11 wins. And the Packers, I think, have played better football than both of those teams down the stretch. They started very slow. People were questioning Jordan Love. He's not the same guy that made the run last year and looked so good in the playoffs. He looked like he was, one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the game, but he now has hit this stride, and Green Bay's playing really good football right now. I have Green Bay the favorite, 2 and 48.5.
Okay. I have it right there at 1, and I have 47.5. So a little bit of a lean to the under for me in that one. Let's go Cowboys and Eagles. These two really don't like each other. Eagles 9.5, total 42.
I have the Eagles 14.5, 42.5. I've been a big Eagle backer most of the year. Love the offense. Think they're one of the best offenses in football. And The problem with them, it's not really a problem. They're still competing with the Lions, and the Lions play on Monday night, and the Lions are playing at the 49ers. So the Eagles win. They're tied with Detroit for the best record in the NFL to get that bye for the playoffs.
If the Eagles win and the Lions lose, right?
Right.
Right now, the Vikings and the Lions are both 13-2.
Yes.
Yeah. So they need a lot of help.
Well, one of those teams, are not going to win the division. So if they're basically competing against both of those teams, I guess.
Right. That makes sense. Yes. I have the Eagles 12.5 and the total 44. So looks like a play for both of us. And coming off a loss.
Yeah.
Let's go. Saquon Barkley, 2 touchdowns. Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns. Miami, big win last week. I did not understand all the love for the Niners in that one. San Francisco was at home, but now they are on the road playing the Browns. They're a 6.5-point favorite, and the total 40.
Yeah, I may have not have. Let me see what my adjustment would be.
From Winston.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson played last week, and they did not look good offensively. So you didn't even look to see if they give Winston the shot back. But yeah, see, I have a 3-point difference. I think Winston's the better quarterback. This is just a bad roster and a bad team that has had a bad year from the get-go, the Deshaun Watson factor. But yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 157 yards in that last game that he started. 20 for 34, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions he threw in the game. Winston's the better quarterback, whether anybody likes it or not. He's better than Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So I'd have to make an adjustment there. I have Cleveland 1-45. With Thompson-Robinson, I'd make Miami the favorite 2-42. But the line's 6.5 because Minnesota must win.
Yeah. You mean Miami?
I mean Miami. Miami must win. They have Miami 6.5, and you know it's going to go up.
I have it 3, and I definitely have my adjusted without Jameis Winston in. So, yeah, there's might be some value there with the points in Cleveland.
Hate to bet a bad team, but that is the NFL, and they still will play hard. And
well, we just need it. What's the weather?
I don't know. Yeah, the weather. What the weather is, because Tua does not win when it's 40 or less. It's probably going to be very cold. It's a 4 p.m. game in Cleveland. I'll check for you real quick.
Thank you.
And you can set up the next game, the Monday night game.
Monday night game. Dang it, I did not make my numbers for the Monday night game.
Well, I did. I made Detroit 3.5 and 55.5. High scoring game. I think it'll be a high flying affair.
It is 3.5 here at the South Point, total 50. So you do have a little bit of value on that over there.
There are showers all week in Cleveland. And on Sunday at 4 p.m., the winds are 10 to 15, so not really bad. The temperature in the 50s. So Tua gets a break, that it's not going to be freezing cold there.
So this should be one that they do win. They do have to go to New York and play the Jets their last week, though. Miami's still playing for a playoff spot as well.
They are playing for a playoff spot. Detroit playing for the number 1 seed and the division.
Yes.
Minnesota as well. Those lines are going to go up, but Minnesota's playing Green Bay, and there was money for Green Bay, and I don't blame them. I like Green Bay. Green Bay's playing really good football. Green Bay might be another teaser team for me to take +8. Might do that with Pittsburgh. Take Pittsburgh plus the 8.5 to Green Bay plus 8.5.
I like it. That is a good teaser right there. It is really interesting with the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill had just 29 yards the last game. Targeted 7 times, 29 yards, 3 receptions. So I don't know what's going on there. I think they did try to change their offense quicker. That's why we've seen Jonnu Smith get a lot of receptions, which he did have the most in that game, I believe.
Short, quick passes.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. But they should have an easy time against the Browns. So that should be a good matchup for them. That's it for us for today. I'm going to check in with the chat one more time. Any last final thoughts for you?
We should give a couple plays out for sure. One of those.
Thank you.
Always want to we're going to do this. I think after the new year, we got to talk the crew into getting a graphic. Maybe we'll do the boards, but a graphic to keep up with the records for the year, because I think it's very important to keep up with the record. Most shows just show you what they did yesterday, and they're 50-50, and we haven't been much better than that. But I know in the long run, what we do wins, and we will show that type of winning record.
Hey, we have some contest out there where you can check our records as well.
We got right, and there's no doubt about it. There's a bowl game tonight.
There is a bowl game tonight,
and I like South Florida. So I'm going to
Ryan, Drew Dog, any final thoughts for you guys?
Silence, crickets from the crew.
Anybody else in the chat?
We did have Sean Higgs saying Merry Christmas, South Point family. Hassan Terrell said, hi there, guys. Happy Christmas Eve. Got Roger Long saying, I guess it means we do get a white Christmas Eve. Dean Hilt was curious if Jalen Hurts is going to be out for that Eagles game because of the concussion.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Can't believe I forgot that.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett time. I think it might be his second of the year too, right? So
Pickett is also dealing with a rib injury, so both quarterbacks are currently questionable. So, but yes, a very Merry Christmas to everyone watching. Happy holidays as well. From Drew Dog, myself, and Jerry, everybody part of the South Point family. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you stick along for the show on Thursday.
That's right. Thursday, Jeff Parles will be back in the morning with you guys, 9 a.m. for a short, quick show for tonight's action. And then Ryan will be back with Jeff on the desk, 3 p.m. Football Frenzy, Sports by the Buck.
I have 3 plays for you. South Florida tonight plus the 3. That game over 65. I think it's going to be a fun game going back and forth. And then tomorrow on Christmas Day, Kansas City, Pittsburgh under the 44.
So Packers, I'm actually only getting 7 with them, right? They're a 1-point dog.
On a teaser?
Yes.
Yes.
I think you said 8.5. You got
I was looking
my
at
hopes
2.
up.
You're right. South Point at 1.
That's fine. I'll take the Steelers plus 8.5 and the Packers plus 7 against the Vikings. Don't forget to get down here and get your parlay cards in. Chance to win $25,000, $5 per ticket. You can do as many as you want. Dad, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Alex.
Drew, Doug, and Ann, thank you for my my ticket here. I do have a little bit of a future for Christmas present on Boise State. I guess I'm rooting for the old Mountain West, so I don't mind that at all. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Ryan, Drew, Doug, thank you so much for everything you guys do back there. Everybody in the chat, everybody who has been watching and following along for the last year. Merry Christmas. We'll see you again at the end of the week.